My f***ing tortillas on fire.
It's next level. It's next level. It wouldn't be next level if there wasn't a fire up here. There it goes. A little bit of onion.
Sorry about that. Welcome to Next Level Kitchen, where we are going to give you our tips, tricks, and skills to get your cooking to the next level.
That's right, Gordon. And today we're making one of my favorite meals of the day, breakfast.
Breakfast is essential. That's right, we are taking your breakfast to the next level with some Mexican inspiration. But before we get onto the breakfast, let's talk about something humble, something delicious that we all use across breakfast. Yeah, the amazing egg.
There it is. There it is, the egg. Gotta love them. Every chef needs to know how to cook eggs multiple ways.
Yes.
Right?
Favorite way, what would it be?
Oh man, I'd like a nice classic French omelet, to be honest. Yeah.
I'm more of a soft scrambled man because that was the first thing I learned to perfect in Paris. Soft scrambled eggs. We serve for breakfast, lunch, or dinner. Breakfast will be done with scrambled eggs. Lunch, wild mushrooms. And for dinner, would you believe, uni. Also.
Oh, I love that. I love that. A little
eggs.
caviar on top, maybe too.
There you go.
Yes, yes.
There you go. You ready, bud?
Yes, let's go.
You're familiar with Mexican cuisine.
I am. I live in San Diego, so I'm a couple miles away from Mexico.
Huevos rancheros.
Huevos rancheros. Everyone loves huevos rancheros.
What does it mean?
The food are like the farm of the ranch. You know, what you're gonna eat before you have a lot of work to do during that day. It's basically like your full breakfast.
Gotcha.
Okay.
So in England, we have a full English breakfast. Sausage, eggs, tomatoes, beans, black pudding, white pudding, and toast, and fried bread.
Yes,
Yeah,
and, right, exactly.
Now, I'm going to start off with some of this beautiful smoky chorizo, okay? I want to get it in there and get that oil out. Why? The flavor profile inside there is off the charts. And this will help take any egg dish to the next level. Now, you can see that oil literally running out of that sausage. Once you've got that going, in with your zucchini or courgette back home, bell pepper in. And now it's all starting to take on that amazing sausage. Rich?
Yeah, so listen, you got chorizo, I got bacon. We're getting that salty, sweet flavor going. And then just right in my cast iron, I am going to cook the bacon and the potatoes together. I have my burrito that I'm making. I'm making a California burrito. So I got 2 big flour tortillas that I'm just gonna griddle, and then I'm gonna make some pico de gallo. But I gotta crack my eggs first. How do you crack eggs, Gordon?
So we all learn carefully to tap it always on a flat surface.
Yes, okay.
Because that way it stops the shell going into the egg, and sometimes it breaks the yolk. How are you doing it?
Oh my gosh, I'm not gonna do it that way. I'm gonna just crack it on my bowl and hope for the best.
Off you go.
And now all this pressure's on me, so I'm gonna crack these eggs. Let's see, can I do the 2-hand crack?
Can you? You can. You can.
The 2-hand crack, he's cracked eggs before, believe it or not.
Amazing.
Okay, there we go. We got our potatoes cooking, we have our bacon cooking. I'm getting going with our eggs over here. And yeah, we gotta make some scrambled eggs.
I love that. I love that. Now, that sausage has melted. The flavor's out, so already the basic veg, it starts to take on a league of its own. It's already going up to the next level. Flatten out the ingredients. If you flatten out the ingredients like this and utilize the whole pan, what happens is everything underneath gets really nice and crispy. Okay, next, I've got some beautiful chipotle hot sauce. It's a really nice sort of way of just lifting those vegetables, again, with a chorizo, and it gets really nice and spicy. Now, are you doing a quick omelet or are you doing a...
No, I'm gonna cook the eggs in a separate pan. I'm just gonna crisp up the potatoes and the bacon over here. And then I like my scramble to be nice and fluffy, so I'm gonna whisk that, get it nice and aerated, nice and fluffy, and then I'm gonna cook my eggs in a separate pan. Are you using that pan?
I was gonna use that pan.
Okay, I got one right over here. No, I got one right here, we're good.
Come on. Beautiful beans, black beans, and that's gonna give you that starch across this amazing breakfast. This is not really a breakfast for us. This is like a sort of brunch moving into lunch. The time I spent down in Oaxaca, honestly, this was a staple, almost like a street food breakfast. It was that good. Think about the layers, the hot sauce, the beans, and now a little bit of fresh coriander, and then our chopped tomatoes. Don't flood it. I don't like this to be too wet in a way that it becomes too soupy. So just 3 tablespoons in. Now, give that a really nice mix up. Tortilla, what are you going to do with that tortilla?
Okay, the tortilla I'm just gonna throw on my plancha. I have my eggs, a little bit of brown butter, nice and softly scrambled. I'm gonna get all that texture getting from the potatoes.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's all right. You go first,
Yeah.
I'll go after you because I have to make a pico de gallo. I need a sauce for this. So pico de gallo, or basically a fresh salsa, it's gonna be a chopped up onion and a chopped up tomato. Okay, there we go.
Sauce.
A little bit of chopped onion.
Right.
We have our tomato. A little bit of lime. Here's a little tip. When I cut limes, I like to cut them not in half like you would a lemon, but I cut them in thirds like this because the cell structure of a lime is a little different. I get more juice out of it when I cut this lemon into thirds. And this is just gonna be the vinaigrette sort of for my pico de gallo. Look at all the juice I get out of the lime right there. Have that. Got our lime juice, onion, tomatoes, our pico de gallo coming together. My eggs are finished. Where are we at with the huevos rancheros?
So,
Oh my
I'm
gosh.
I'm getting there. Say it again, huevos.
Huevos rancheros.
Love that. First of all, get my eggs crispy. These are not soft, sort of cooked eggs. They're sort of firm and crispy. Something quite nice about that beautiful, crispy edge. Again, super generous on the seasoning. Touch of
Listen,
pepper.
you like spicy food, right?
I love it.
Okay, so I'm gonna use most of this jalapeno over here. Not gonna use the seeds. Using the seeds makes it a little spicier.
Love that.
Okay, dice up
Man,
my
now look at
jalapeno.
those beans.
The
What you
huevos
got?
are coming along.
Do you have any chile there?
I have some paprika. There's a little bit of, there's a jalapeno right there if you want. Yeah,
Paprika's perfect,
that's
thank
good.
you.
The
Just
hot
gonna
paprika.
Literally go on the top of those eggs and literally let that sit there and absolutely finish off beautifully.
By the way, I love this pico de gallo because people think they have to go out and they have to buy salsa. 4 ingredients in a bowl. You chop them up roughly, a little bit of lime juice, and we have this beautiful pico de gallo right here. Okay, my salsa's done, my eggs are done, my potatoes are cooking. I gotta get my tortilla just cooked a little bit here to roll up my burrito.
So you mentioned the lime. Finishing my farmer's eggs.
Huevos rancheros. That
with
looks
a touch of
fantastic.
lime as well, and just to give that little bit of fragrance in there, okay?
Is there anything you can't do, by the way?
Honestly, this is one of our favorites here, you know that?
It's
Seriously.
fantastic.
Wow, that's good.
All right.
That's very good. Right, what's the secret of rolling a great burrito?
Wow, to me is you want that tortilla to be nice and pliable, right? So steamed, or even if you're home, popping it in the microwave. But look, I barely cooked it, just a little bit of char, almost just kissing each side of the plancha,
Love that.
so that we just barely, so it's pliable. If it gets too crunchy, we can't roll our burrito.
Gotcha.
So here we go. I'm gonna double stack this. I'm going big. I'm going next level over here, Gordon.
Love that.
And I'm gonna start adding all my ingredients to my burrito wrapper.
I'm dying to see how you roll this amazing burrito.
Okay, I mean, listen, we'll see how I can do it. I'm gonna load it up. I think the key to a good California burrito is to just get all of the things, all of the stuff, the eggs, the potato, the bacon, the chorizo, whatever you're doing, getting it in there. I'm gonna add a little bit of my cheese right on top of the hot eggs.
Yes.
Because we want that to melt. A little bit of salt, and then I'm gonna top it with some pico de gallo and some avocados. Gonna make it nice and cooling.
Love that. Love
Get that fresh flavor in there.
Little
And then we'll
tip.
see if I can roll this up.
A little tip, when you're dicing avocado, leave it in the shell, okay? Hit it with a little touch of lime juice, okay? And then very carefully, get your finger in there and rub that so it stops from oxidizing. And then just crisscross very carefully with your knife, okay? One way, turn it upside down and go again. And all you're doing now is sort of dissecting that inside, and I'll show you how we finish our beautiful farmer's eggs.
Oh, I love that.
Huevos.
Yeah, I love that's farmer's eggs, huevos rancheros.
Huevos
Absolutely.
rancheros.
Another little tip for the avocado is how do you get the actual pit out of there,
Gotcha.
right? Be very careful, but with your chef's knife, you're just gonna get in there, take the
Smart.
pit out with your knife. There you go. Okay.
Traditionally, it would be finished with a...
Cotilla.
Cotilla.
A little cotilla, which
Oh,
is
yeah.
basically a salted cheese. So
So I'm going to use feta.
feta is perfect. Salted
There you
ricotta. You know the thing I love about global cuisine is it's all the same. Every culture's got a salty, crumbly cheese.
Exactly.
In this case, it's cotilla or feta if you want.
Cotilla. Thank you. Is that thing rollable?
I don't know. I don't know. I'm going big. I mean, I don't think so. Let's see. Let's see. Is it
Honestly.
rollable? Yeah, no, you got it, Gordon. Listen, this is like.
You tucking it in?
Yeah, you got to tuck it in.
you're
You got to
doing
go
that.
with the big.
You-
You got to get your hands in there. I'm eating this, so don't worry if my hands are on this. You got to give yourself a fold. There you go.
You
You got
are.
to
You
fold
got
it
it.
up on the side so you lose an avocado on the side. Not a big deal.
I love that.
That's how you do it. I can't believe you doubted me for a second.
No, but
look at that. Okay.
Listen, as they say in Scotland, that is well packed.
And if you want, You can put it on the plancha, get it nice and crispy. But I think I'm ready to plate. I see you plating already.
I'm just starting, so I've sort of crisped up my tortilla. I've got my beautiful veg and tomatoes, spicy tomatoes. Now, from there, as you saw, I finished out with a little touch of lime zest. I want my eggs super crispy. The beans have been sort of
amazing,
crisped up, so I'm just gonna drop them around the outside. And the most important thing here is that this thing is sort of almost like a little pick and mix. When you dive into this, you struggle on where to start. The eggs, beautiful crisp eggs, sit on top. They're crispy, but they're still runny, and that's the secret.
Okay.
I told you about the avocado. I've sliced that, take a spoon, and look, as you go inside, all these little bits of avocado just break off because you've diced them up, and we're just scooping that out over your eggs.
Oh, fantastic. Now, listen, I'm going to give you, not that you need it because you have millions of followers, but a good social media tip is if you want your burrito to get extra likes, Gordon, I'm going to slice it in half, and then you got to do the social media fold where you take the burrito, stack it on top of each other. And this, have you noticed that only social media influencers present their burrito like this?
Look at that.
It is the shot. Okay, I'm going to plate it.
Now, once the avocado's on, just get some of that beautiful feta and just crumple it. And that's going to give you that nice saltiness over the finish. And honestly, this is a breakfast to die for. Not only have we elevated your breakfast to the next level, but trust me, that'll keep any farmer anywhere in the world happy with a beautiful huevo.
Wow, rancheros.
Rancheros. That looks delicious. Great job. Seriously, really good job indeed. Now, that's how you take and elevate your dish to the next level. Now, to get the ingredients and more details on today's recipes, check out the description below and be sure to subscribe for more amazing recipes from this genius and this genius too. Well done. Good job.
Yeah.
As that's... Damn, it's gone all Snoop Dogg on me. Blowback. Right, so welcome to the Next Level Kitchen, where we're taking your skills to the next level with some amazing tips and fantastic, delicious recipes.
And Gordon, today we're taking 2 slices of bread and turning it into something amazing.
I promise you, it is not an idiot sandwich. So, it is a delicious next level steak sandwich that everyone in your household will be a huge fan after you produce this amazing steak sandwich, let me tell you. So I'm going to use a strip loin, a beautiful strip loin, which I'm going to use that fat to help render the onions and slice it at the very last minute. What are you using, Rich?
Man, I love fat. Fat is flavor, but I'm going to use the leanest piece. I'm going to use a filet mignon, and I'm going to make a homemade aioli with it.
Wow, okay, great. Now, first things first, take this steak out, okay? A next level tip is to make sure it comes out of the fridge, get up to room temperature, and give it a really good season, okay? Now, when you look at this New York strip, you think, God, it's too big for a sandwich. But here's how you get the yield, okay? I lightly smear it with a little touch of oil, okay? Take my rolling pin and just roll that steak just till it gets nice and flat. And what happens here is I mop up all that seasoning, and by rolling the steak, it actually forces the seasoning inside the steak. It's a great tip. Get this done literally 20 minutes before you go to cook it, and inside is permeated with that amazing seasoning.
I love
Rich?
it, I love it. Yeah, over here, we're gonna do like a barbecue spice blend. I have some of my favorite flavors. We have cumin, we have garlic, we have onion, we have paprika, and we have a little bit of brown sugar, which I love with red meat. And real simple, we're just gonna season our filet mignon. Again, it's really, really lean. So we want to crust it in these flavors and use whatever flavors you want here. So I got my dusted filet. It smells amazing already. And of course, I'm gonna start cooking that. My pan's getting hot pan, a little bit of oil. I love cooking in cast iron with red meat because you get that nice sear on it. And look at this, it's blazing in here, Gordon.
It is blazing. Now, I'm using a sourdough bread, okay? And I'll come back to that in a minute, but get the crust on that amazing steak. And the garnish, I'm gonna keep this really simple. I'm gonna fry some onions, which are delicious with the steak. But more importantly, look, I'm gonna flip that steak, use some of that fat to start cooking these onions. Now, I'm using a white onion because it's a lot more robust than the red onion. So it's going to go really nice and caramelized. Now, first of all, turn that steak over, okay? Take out some of the fat into that pan there. And this is a great tip, by the way. Then start frying your onions in that pan. Now, come on. The steak, the onions, I've got the fat from that New York strip already in those onions. And now we start going up a level. I've got some salt and I've got a little bit of brown sugar here. And just watch what happens to those onions. They start to caramelize so quick, it gets rid of that raw sort of white onion flavor, and it bodes well with that beautiful red meat. Rich?
Oh, I love that. Okay, so I don't have fat because I got filet mignon, so I need some fat. So I'm gonna make a homemade aioli or a garlic mayonnaise. Tip when you're making mayonnaise, get a wet rag, put it on your board so that the bowl doesn't swirl around. And then it's just 2 egg yolks, some garlic, a little bit of mustard. The mustard's gonna help with the emulsification. And then I'm just gonna start whisking like a madman to make a homemade mayonnaise. You don't have to buy it. You just have a little bit of patience. And again, because the steak is so lean, this is gonna add some fat and some flavor to it. This is gonna be my sauce. Okay, Gordon, what do you got?
So, onions are caramelizing down beautifully. You can see what that brown sugar's doing. I've got the fat from the New York strip in there. I'm gonna go back in with some excess fat again, so the flavor is connected. And I promise you, it really is an amazing next level tip. Now, this is where the onions go up a level. I've got some aged balsamic vinegar. And what we're gonna do now is beautifully reduce that vinegar over the onions. So think about it. I've got the caramel with the sugar. I've got the beautiful flavor from that New York strip. And now those onions just become almost like a beautiful sweet sour with that steak.
Oh, I love
Honestly,
that. I love that. Sweet
delicious.
sour is where it's at. All right, so now I'm gonna baste this. I got the filet. I threw some garlic in there and some thyme. And now what I'm gonna do is real simple. I'm just gonna sort of baste this filet, or you can also get it in the oven if you want right now. Here's the thing about filet. This looks really dark, but remember, it's got all these dark spices on it. This is still rare. Pop it in the oven, or listen, filet is one of the few meats that you can eat rare. It's gonna still be super, super delicious. So what I'm gonna do is actually let this rest and keep it nice and rare in mid-rare here.
Love that.
Okay.
So now you can see by rolling that steak nice and flat, I've got that crust. So when we come to slice this thing, I've got texture. And I want it mid-rare, okay? So I leave it to rest. I take it out of my pan, okay? I cover with that beautiful resting juices over there and just let it sit there for a couple of minutes. Now, check out the onions. You can do these onions up for sort of 3-4 days in advance and it becomes like this onion jam. And the flavor is incredible. Great with chicken sandwiches as well as the New York strip. Okay, I've got my sourdough bread, but how do I elevate that? I've got some beautiful Swiss cheese. It's going into my pan and I'm just gonna get that melting. Now I love this trick, trust me. A touch of salt, a touch of pepper, and watch what happens to that cheese again. Richard?
What is the cheese? The cheese tip is like, I am here for it, Gordon.
Honestly.
I'm totally taking that. You're gonna see it in all of my restaurants.
As that starts to caramelize, you've got this beautiful flavor, this amazing Swiss cheese that is just caramelizing in your pan. No butter, no mayonnaise. Just get your bread and mop up that beautiful flavor and just roll it around. And look, again, Rich, what are you doing with your bread?
I love it. I'm just throwing mine on the grill. Look at that. I don't know what I'm showing you. I'm just happy with it.
Love that.
I'm
Good
just
garlic
happy
in
with
there.
it. So I love that. You got a little bit of the char. You don't have to toast in a pan or in a toaster. Just throw your bread on a grill. And I'm gonna do an open face sandwich. So I have my steak, that's resting. I have my bread. Now here's where we're gonna get blazed in here, Gordon.
I love that.
It's time to get blazed. We have some tomatoes on the vine, a little salt, pepper, olive oil, and then listen, it's time for the torch. It's time for the torch.
You're torching a sandwich?
I'm torching the tomatoes and just blistering these tomatoes to be a garnish for the sandwich with olive oil, salt, pepper, and now we'll have the acidity and the sweetness from these tomatoes. I don't know if it's gonna match those onions, but they look delicious over there.
Smell incredible. That's a great way of sort of caramelizing those tomatoes so quick with a blowtorch.
And again, if you don't have a blowtorch, throw them in the pan, throw them on the grill, throw them in the broiler. But there we go, some charred tomatoes. I'm almost ready to build my sandwich.
You go.
You doing good over there?
I am absolutely good. Now, toast this out, okay? This is where you start to take your steak sandwich up to another level. I've got my base, I've got my top, okay? First off, I've got a little bit of horseradish cream, okay? One beautiful layer on that caramelized Swiss cheese, horseradish, delicious. Now, the top half, I've got some beautiful mustard. Once you've got that mustard mixed into that cheese, it's on a different level. How do I bring that heat down? What's peppery and delicious and goes well with an amazing steak sandwich? Beautiful watercress. That's gonna sit on the top. Now, from there, my onions. The smell of these onions, honestly, is just so good. Just look, the steak's not even on there yet, and it looks so good. I'm not gonna slice my steak until you say we can go, Richard.
Okay, let's go, let's go. I sliced my steak. Pro tip over here, after the meat is sliced, a little bit more seasoning on the pieces that were not seasoned already. And now I have my grilled bread. I'm gonna put my aioli right down on the bread. Again, I like a lot of this, right? You have all this crunchy texture from the baguette. You have a nice smear of our steak. You know what? I think I have some of this rocket. We'll throw down some of this arugula or rocket right on the bottom of the sandwich right here.
And here's the tip. Yeah. You saw me flattening that steak out earlier.
Yeah, yeah.
The yield is for 2. I've only used half the steak, and look at that on there. And honestly, just give that a little season. Every time we expose protein and you slice it, give it a little season. And then look, just a touch of the reduction from my onions. I'm gonna pour over the steak. And now we go up a level. Take my beautiful lid, and then we're just gonna close that over. In fact, dear God, may this be the most delicious steak sandwich I've ever made.
There we
and
go.
then we fold over, and then boom. Okay, finally, a little press down. I'm gonna slice it in half, beautifully. I'm gonna open it up, and that is fit for a king. And then finally, I got a little touch of watercress that's gonna sit there on the side. Something green and mean. Richard?
There we go. I'm gonna serve mine open face. I'm watching my carbs. I'm gonna put it right over here, right on the plate. We have an open-faced filet sandwich with these charred tomatoes, a little bit of arugula salad. I don't know. I think they're both looking pretty delicious.
Two amazing sandwiches, and I promise you, that's how you take your sandwich to the next level. Now, to get the ingredients and more details on the fabulous recipes from tonight's cook-off, please check the description below, and be sure to subscribe for more episodes of Next Level Kitchen with this genius. Great job.
So